Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Push with Nick and KP. I'm KP, and here today we're going to be running through a SmackDown recap. This comes from Atlantic City, New Jersey, recorded on the 3rd of July 2026. Actually, pre-recorded a few days prior to that one, but that would be the aired date of the show. So we're going to go through things as we normally do here for this episode of SmackDown, do a quick recap, just go through the start of the night to the finish, everything in between. So this does fall off the back of Night of Champions, purely, which happened the previous weekend, and we do kick things off with probably the biggest story to take place at Night of Champions. That would be the brand new undisputed WWE champion, Sami Zayn. He would enter the arena, come down to the ring, and he would start up with a promo, his first TV appearance since winning the championship. Sami would thank people for the love that he's had since winning the championship before looking back on how he's been basically booed out of the building for the last 6 months, calling people out for essentially being the same people who wanted him to win the title 3 years ago, back in the Bloodline story when he went one-on-one with Roman Reigns. And then he goes on to sort of say that the reason that he's holding the title is because he hasn't changed at all. Despite people telling him to be more ruthless and dirty, obviously talking about past influences by certain people. And he goes on to say that he could easily tell every doubter to kiss his ass, but instead says that this is a celebration, and that he's celebrating himself and his win. He says he will go down as one of the all-time greats, that he is a WrestleMania main eventer, a Grand Slam champion, and a WWE champion. Before he can continue, we then do have the arrival of Cody Rhodes, who makes his way down to the ring, the former undisputed WWE champion. He enters the ring before then Sami asks him what he wants to talk about, so obviously going straight after Cody Rhodes in that respect. Cody looks back to when he won the WWE title for the first time, basically being reminded by Sami that he was the first to congratulate him in the ring, before then doing the same thing to Sami himself here on this episode of SmackDown. He does congratulate him, he says well done, he shakes his hand, and then he goes to leave the ring. As he goes to leave, though, Sami does ask him to stay, or pretty much tells him to stay, really, demands that he does so. He starts questioning why Cody is really out here, though, sensing that there's more an underlying feeling in there, deep down somewhere, and then he pretty much knows what it is, and he basically just tells Cody to drop the act. Before Cody can really say anything in return, though, we then see Jey Uso interrupting, and he comes down to the ring and once again congratulates Sami Zayn, first hugging him, before then saying how proud he is. Uso says that he's here on Bloodline business, before then Cody calls Jey out for basically running errands for the Tribal Chief, saying that he's above that and he's better than doing things for Roman. He can actually just do things by himself instead. Cody goes on to say that he was basically wanting to talk about his rematch with Sami Zayn, but obviously now we've got Jey Uso out here, so that adds a little bit of different development to the story. Sami then ends up telling Cody and Jey that he's done with Cody Rhodes, he's going to put that behind him, and he wants to put Jey Uso's basically challenge down behind him as well, saying that the Bloodline, they have a champion at the moment, so there's no need to really go out and get a different one. Sami obviously still seeing himself as part of that Bloodline family from, the past few years. He looks to leave the ring before then Adam Pearce comes out, whilst Nick Aldis is off on suspension here, thanks to the actions of, I say Gunter, really. It's a bit of a coming together between both of them after the Night of Champions event. Bit of an altercation between the two. And Adam Pearce, acting general manager, he comes out to tell Sami that he will defend his title on Raw coming up in Chicago on Monday, and that will be against either Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso, who will have a match later on tonight to determine the number one contender. So that'll be the opening segment of the evening there. Sami Zayn's first challenger already going to be determined here on this episode of SmackDown, and for some reason the WWE Champion defending over on Raw on Monday, and I guess we'll discuss that a little more at the time. Might want to check out the Raw recap when that one comes out to see how that one plays out. But going into our first match of the evening, we would have a 3-on-3 tag team matchup for the women's division. This will see Jade Cargill teaming up with Michin and B-Fab, taking on the team of Chelsea Green, Charlotte Flair, and Tiffany Stratton. Pretty much a standard 3-on-3 tag team here. Seemingly the importance of this matchup probably could have been a lot higher, but it never really seemed to come out, in my opinion. It just seemingly just went along sort of very basically, very safely. And I don't know, maybe if time constraints are going to play a thing here now that we are down to officially a 2-hour show, going from 3 to 2. But this was sort of maybe the first chance to see that maybe these matches are going to sort of be quick. It seemed to absolutely fly by this matchup. As quickly as it started, it basically did end. I think it's would have got a few minutes, but even still, though, the content in the matchup was just okay. It was fine. We do see a situation where Chelsea Green is basically isolated. Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton are dealt with on the outside of the ring. And Jade Cargill looks to end things by hitting Jaded, Chelsea does reverse it, though, gets out of the way. Ends up hitting, I think it's Michin off of the apron, knocks us ringside, and then Jade Cargill gets Jaded locked in once again. This time does actually hit it, though, and that'll be the win here for Jade and her baddies, as they are now known. But yeah, in terms of this match, it was fine. It was okay, but it didn't really set anything alight. It was just a 3v3, very basic, safe, tag team matchup. And it got the women involved, got them featured, which I suppose is the main thing. And I guess also a big thing, Jade gets momentum still. Going into what would be the match of the evening for me next, this would be Rey Fenix one-on-one with El Hijo del Vikingo. This would be for the AAA Cruiserweight Championship. There's actually these two AAA champions here in Rey Fenix and Vikingo. Yeah, this one was a really solid contest. Just luchador, high-flying offense, very quick pace around the ring, very entertaining to watch. Just a really unique offense here in this matchup too. They got a lot of time as well, plenty of time to really go about their business, and yeah, it just was a really nice, just fun contest to watch. Rey Fenix does get the win here in the end over Vikingo. That comes in way of Vikingo hitting a very lovely looking avalanche poison rana off of the ring post, but he only gets a 2 count from Rey Fenix. He does then attempt a springboard 450 from the ring post, which Phoenix actually evades before then hitting his Mexican Muscle Buster, and that'll be the 1-2-3 to retain his AAA Cruiserweight Championship. But yeah, what a really fun matchup this is. If you're looking for a quick burst, very fast-paced matchup, definitely consider watching this one if you haven't done so already, because it's pretty good, to be fair. A lot of fun, and a great win here for Rey Fenix too. Going from one half to our second half here of SmackDown, we would have the United States Champion head to the ring here alongside Lil Yachty. Trick Williams and Lil Yachty basically don't get to say anything when they get into the ring because they're immediately interrupted by Carmelo Hayes, who comes on down, grabs a mic, and says that he saw Trick defeat Saints at Night of Champions, before saying there's only one thing left to do, and that's to run back Melo versus Trick. He says Trick has turned the US title into an accessory recently instead of the championship that Melo made it be when he had the gold. He says he doesn't buy that Trick is on course to become one of the greatest US champions of all time before Yachty intercepts. He says that Trick is no joke and that so far he hasn't come up short at all, before asking the crowd if they do want to see a match between the two coming up very soon. Yachty says that Melo will get a match next week, but not a title match. It could be a non-title affair. Trick says that after all these years of history, he does know Melo at the back of his hand, before he then just quite simply backhands Melo and leaves the ring. Melo not looking to, just end it right there, though, does actually dive to ringside, taking Trick Williams out, before then standing tall in the ring to end this segment. So yeah, we are going to run Trick and Melo next week in a non-title matchup. This sort of goes back to those times in WWE where we had those number one, not contender matches, but essentially like if you beat the champion, you get a championship matchup. I never particularly enjoyed those. This sort of like gives me that sort of vibe as well. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see how this one plays out, but as to what's going to happen next week, we'll find out then, but it is going to be Melo versus Trick, not for the US title, though. Our next match of the evening, then, comes in way of Lainey Reed of Fatal Influence, taking on Brie Bella, one half of the Women's Tag Team Champions. They would have their, faction members, tag team partners outside of the ring here, accompany them to the matchup. And this one will be a decent enough one-on-one matchup between two ladies who actually need a bit more focus on themselves recently. I think probably Paige has had more of the focus on her since her return. So obviously Brie getting a chance to go in the limelight here makes sense. And Lainey Reed, maybe the third member of Fatal Influence, the one that sort of like doesn't really get as much limelight as the rest of them. This is a great opportunity to see what both women are capable of in one-on-one action. And it's a decent enough match. Like I said, nothing spectacular, nothing great, nothing bad, but just somewhere in the middle, decent enough for sure. We get to a stage at the end where Brie is sort of rolling. She locks in the yes lock until Fallon and JC attempt to interfere, with Paige sort of fighting back against them. Paige eventually gets outnumbered, though, before then Brie sees the situation on the outside, comes down to her aid, and then she gets back in the ring and is caught by a knee strike from Lainey Reed, who quickly capitalizes, 1-2-3, picks up the win here against Brie. So, yeah, that is a win for, Fatal Influence, I guess you could say, against one half the tag team champions of the women's division. So, looks like the Fatal Influence momentum here is going to keep on rolling, possibly into another tag team title match coming up soon. We'll have to wait and see. Then going into our main event of the show, we would have Cody Rhodes go one-on-one with Jey Uso. This would be to determine the number one contender for Sami Zayn's undisputed WWE Championship, which would take place that match on Monday Night Raw in Chicago coming up on Monday. Yeah, this one's pretty much standard as you would expect. Nothing really special to note in this one. Cody and Jay, obviously a lot of history between the two men, former tag team champions together, and they sort of have a decent enough back and forth matchup that goes in the way that everyone pretty much expects it to go. We see Cody eventually getting into a bit of a rhythm. He hits a crossroads, Jay kicks out, and then the big moves start coming on after that. We have a spear coming in, doesn't get the victory, doesn't get the job done, and then eventually we do see Jeyuso lock in a sleeper hold. That sort of spirals into the corner. They both go crashing into there. It's a particularly strange finish, this one. They both sort of like fall into the corner, and as they do, there's sort of like a weird, awkward sort of, I don't know if it's like a grapple, but they just sort of seemingly get caught up on each other, get tangled up together, and as they sort of like separate from the corner, Cody quickly turns things into a crossroads, and then that would be the 1-2-3 for Cody to win this matchup after hitting crossroads number 2 on Jeyuso. So we will have Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship on Raw this coming Monday. Obviously, we'll have to see how that one goes. I have my suspicions about what's going to take place there, but we will have to see because it is in Chicago after all, and certain someone's been missing for a long time. But as for this episode of SmackDown, though, that has been the review. In terms of everything that we did see tonight, you can definitely see the influence of SmackDown going from 3 hours to 2. I think a lot of people sort of had shorter segments here, and a lot of people were amiss from the actual, like, you know, on-screen action in the ring or whatever. So, yeah, it's just going back to that whole situation again. It's just going to be one of those things. And I guess we have to get used to it whilst, you know, the time goes from 3 to 2. So however long this is going to take, I think it's a few months actually like this. So I guess we've got to strap in and see how this one turns out to be. But yeah, it's okay. I could probably give it a 6.5 out of 10. Like, I love Sami Zayn. Great guy. Think he's fantastic. Loving the fact that he's WWE champion for the first time in his career. But it doesn't, you know, save the show from being what is particularly subpar and average. So yeah, it might add up a little bit for me, but nothing too spectacular. It's an okay show at best, this one. But let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of this episode of SmackDown. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions on the show and just generally what your vibe is currently. Now that we're obviously going back from 3 hours down to 2. So yeah, very big shift and change in dynamic here on Friday nights. And also let us know in the comments what you're thinking. Hit a like on our video if you like what we're putting out here. Subscribe to our channel and keep up with future releases coming out very, very soon for The Push. But for now, everyone, this has been The Push with Nick and KP. We'll see you next time. Take it easy and goodbye for now.